Hey sports fans, are you in the market for Florida sports or just keeping up with the latest in the Panhandle? Palm Tree Sports is a dedicated audio hub to all things sports in the Sunshine State. We cover current events, big news, heavily favored opinions all across the NFL, NBA, MLB, and so much more. So come check us out every Saturday evening at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. For a down south education on Florida sports and athletics, it's hosted by yours truly, Corey Pujols, and is powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, I'm your host, and as always it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Guys, I'm pretty sure y'all can hear a different tone from my voice than what you guys are probably accustomed to. That is pretty much on purpose, or not on purpose, it's on accident. It's just with the frustration of what's going on here in the world of sports in Florida, guys. And as you guys know, I'm a very passionate fan of my teams. Currently, right now, I'm watching the Florida-Georgia game. I should be turning this game off. I should have turned it off before halftime, but the current score of this game is now 29-7 Bulldogs. Bulldogs. And, excuse me, my apologies, guys. As a result, it's a really ugly looking ball game. Things are not going well for Florida. Pretty much nothing's gone well since the opening drive of the games for Florida. So I'm going to come back and talk about that in a minute. But we're going to start the first segment off with a team that we normally start off with, is Tampa Bay Buccaneers, guys. And there's a few things to cover there, and that's also why the tone seems to be a bit down. Now, obviously, I love my teams, but when we watch football and all we see is losing, right? It's hard to enjoy it, right? Like, let's be honest, right? As fans, how easy is it to watch your favorite team get beat and look miserable? Like, these aren't close games, guys, like that we're losing. These are games where it looks like we don't even belong where we're at the moment, right? So let's get into it, all right? Let's just go ahead and get into it. So Tampa Bay Buccaneers have now arrived in at 3-4 as we approach the middle way part of the season after a Thursday night loss to the Buffalo Bills in a 24-18 fashion. Guys, I have a lot to say about this, okay? First off, let's start with Tampa Bay. Okay, let's not even talk about the Bills right now. Let's talk about Tampa Bay. The defense, I can't say enough good things about the defense. Okay, even though the defense allowed 24 points, guys, it's 24 points. It's not 48 points. It's not 32 points. It's not even 28 points. Okay, it's 24 points, and a lot of that had to do with the inability of the offense to move the ball. Okay, so for those of you who do not know, my synopsis for playing football is very simple. Okay, this is my viewpoint on football. To be a successful offense, you have to score plus 20. To be a successful defense, you have to hold the team under 20. If you look at some of the greatest defenses of all time, that is one of the things that they were able to do. And I don't care if you're talking about the 2000 Ravens, if you're talking about the 02 Buccaneers, if you're talking about the 76 Raiders, I think it was the 76 Raiders, or the 85 Bears. Okay? I don't care which team you want to throw, at me. When it comes to great defense, 20 points is the measuring stick. More specifically, 21 points, but I'm going to leave it at 20 because obviously we've seen crazier games than that. The idea here is that 21 points is 3 touchdowns, and that means you're scoring, most teams have the ball anywhere between, 9 to 11 times in a game at the most, and I'm thinking to myself, if you score 3 touchdowns, that's 21 points, that's 1 in 3. Right? So you get a possession, 1 in 3 chance in a possession, you're going to score a touchdown. That's good defense. Okay? That means the defense is playing well. When you get the ball 7 times and you score 5 of those times, you're going to win that ball game, right? So you're scoring over, right, 21 points. Because 4 touchdowns is 28 points, right? Okay? So you see what I'm saying? Like, and now that's granted that you're scoring touchdowns. Obviously, you're going to score field goals. There's going to be some in-betweens in there. But the idea is score, right? That's something that Tampa Bay has not been able to do, okay? So that's the reason why I start there. The defense, like I said, can't say enough good things, but the offense is quickly making the defense look worse than what they are. The defense will get tired. Chasing these guys. Any of you guys ever watch Steph Curry play basketball? And I hear all these people, and I'm not making it a basketball thing, I just want to use this for reference. But you hear all these people saying, if Jordan played in today's league, that he'd average this. And I was like, okay, cool, he'd still score a lot. That's great. Who's he going to guard? Because he's not guarding Steph. And you know he's not guarding Steph because Steph is little meat. Like, he's everywhere. He's running around all over the court. The man's cardio is disgusting. By the time he catches the ball and shoots the three, look at the defenders. The defenders are lagging. They're back there huffing and puffing for air. So I say that to say this. In football, it's twice as worse because you're playing every single down. When Steph's on defense, he can afford to kind of take a break, right? And just kind of, stand next to his guy, and hopefully his guy's not going to do the same thing that he just did, right, on the other side of the court. That's not the case in the NFL. In the NFL, you know for a fact that the team's going to have 4 straight downs, or at least 3 downs and a punting down if they go 3 and out, of course. But you get what I'm saying. Like, it's one of those things where if the offense doesn't take the pressure off the defense, it doesn't matter how good your defense is. Eventually, they will fold. Okay, because that's just the nature of the ball game. That's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of how human physiology works. Okay, so my whole issue here is with the offense. Now, defense. First off, Carlton Davis, you got beat a lot. Okay, against the Bills. Carlton, you got run over. Like, you're listed as our number 1 corner. You're going to have to tighten that gameplay up, CD. Okay? You're going to have to tighten that gameplay up. We have too much belief in you. You come from Auburn, an SEC defense. Okay? You know how to play corner. You need to get back to playing corner. You need to get back to what made you Carlton Davis the first couple of years that you were here. Okay? Before you got, before you reached that veteran status, right? Jamel Dean looked phenomenal. Okay, he looked great. He was all over the place. He was making tackles. He was shutting down on routes, deflecting passes. So I'm happy with Jamel Dean. Okay, he looks like our best corner right now. Antoine Winfield Jr. is Defensive Player of the Year. I don't care what anybody has to say. Whoever's listening to the show, Antoine Winfield Jr. is Defensive Player of the Year. Don't search me, search him. Okay, go look at his highlights this year. I'm telling you, nobody's playing football the way Antoine's playing football right now. Okay, take away Tweezy. This is your shout out, baby. Just keep doing what you're doing. On the opposite side of the ball, Ryan Neal, you're the worst safety in the league, and we wonder why the Seahawks let him go. And now we know he has given up big play after big play after big play. That's been on his radar. It's been his responsibility. Okay, against the Falcons, it was Kyle Pitts. Shout out Kyle Pitts, he's a Gator. That's my dog. Okay, but this, and then after that, there was on Thursday night. He got beat by Stephon, he got beat by Davis, and he got beat by the tight end. I don't know the tight end's name, but he's a rookie. The rookie tight end that Buffalo has. Anybody know his name? Put his name in the chat, guys. It's not looking good for Tampa Bay, and as terribly as the offense played. Specifically, the offensive line was terrible, okay? They could not... We haven't been able to run block all year. Let's not act like we have been able to, okay? We haven't been able to run block all year, but now the pass blocking late in the fourth quarter got ugly. Baker started getting smothered. And if it wasn't for Buffalo becoming as undisciplined as they were, shout out to the Buffalo fans because you guys show up, and I still don't know how. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and take this shot, and that's just because of how NFL history works, but y'all lost 4 Super Bowls in a row, and all 4 of the Super Bowls that y'all lost were the NFC East teams. So what you're telling me is as long as you don't play against the NFC East, you're good. Right? You lost to the Cowboys twice, Redskins, at the time, the Redskins, Washington football team, whatever, Commanders, whatever you want to call them. And you lost to the Giants. Okay? So, Buffalo, shout out to your fans because you guys have a great fan base. But let me tell you something. It's nothing in comparison to how bad it is down here in Tampa right now. I mean, we had at the Eagles game there was more Eagles than there were Buccaneers in the stands. At the Falcons game there were a lot of Falcons fans. At that game, it's just one of those things where same thing with the Lions. There were quite a few Lions fans out there for Tampa Bay on Creamsicle Week at that. So, Buffalo, good win for you guys. As bad as the offense played, Baker still gave Tampa Bay a chance to be in the game with no run game and no offensive line to speak of. And on a Hail Mary pass, guys, I get it. It's one of those plays where, anything can happen, right? And you say, well, the referee shouldn't call pass interference on a Hail Mary. Here's the problem with that. Okay? Anybody that saw the last play of the game, first off, Baker Mayfield's Hail Mary was perfection, okay? Perhaps the most perfect Hail Mary pass I've ever seen thrown, okay? And that's, well, aside from Aaron Rodgers, because obviously Aaron's Aaron. But you get what I'm saying. Like, it was a phenomenal Hail Mary pass. And you look in the end zone, okay? Mike Evans has 3 people kind of just literally surrounding him, bumping around. He looks kind of like a tall-ass pinball, excuse my French, okay? Chris Godwin was being grabbed before he turned around for the ball. While the ball was in the air, that's also pass interference. Cade Otton was being sandwiched. He was being absolutely walloped between two people. And then far over to the right side, if you're facing north or if you're facing south at your left side, you see Trey Palmer is just being hugged by the other. Guys, go back and look at that play and tell me that's not worthy of a flag. Here's my thought process. First off, that should be pass interference, and the ball should be placed at the one with an untimed down. If Buffalo stops us, Buffalo stops us. No hard feelings. Tampa Bay get better, okay? But let's be clear, all right? As bad as Tampa Bay played on Thursday, they still gave themselves, the defense and Baker Mayfield still gave themselves a chance to win the game, okay? And the Buffalo Bills gave us a chance to win the game, but the referees didn't allow it. This is a typical thing. The refs have never, ever liked Tampa Bay. And guys, y'all can say, oh, you're being biased. If for those who say I'm being biased, go watch the Eagles play football and then tell me I'm not being biased. Go watch the Eagles play football. Go watch the Kansas City Chiefs play football and tell me that the refs don't have their eyes set on repeating the Super Bowl that we saw last year, Chiefs-Eagles, okay? I'm telling you guys right now, if the NFL is rigged, that's a perfect example of how, and mark my words, we will see the Chiefs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl. And when we do, I'll be back on this show again that very weekend telling you guys I told you so with receipts, okay? So just keep that in the back of your mind. For the rest of the little people, if you will, okay, like Tampa Bay, it's a struggle just to find a win, and that's exactly what Thursday was. The Falcons game was the exact same thing. How we lost to the Falcons, I'm sure I don't know, but it has something to do with the offensive line not playing well, the offense just in general not playing well, even though we have some of the best players in the league at what they do, okay? So that's you know I got to get on and talk my crap, guys. So there, I've talked my crap as Georgia goes up 35-7 on the Florida Gators. Sorry, guys. On the next segment, we're gonna have more crap to talk about. Okay, but I mean, let's just keep it moving, right? Let's keep it moving. The Buccaneers' next game, all right, is gonna be against the Texans. That's a 3-3 football team right there. That game is not gonna be this Sunday. So, guys, if you're looking for Buccaneers football, just remember they played on Thursday, so no Sunday game. Probably a heaven sent for us at this point because, Lord, I don't know what much more I can take right now. We're on a 3-game losing streak currently, and we went from the top of the division to looking like we're headed towards the bottom of the division, especially if we keep playing like this, guys. I'm gonna stand by what I said before. Baker is not the problem. Okay, the problem is the offensive line. All right, they cannot run block. We have the best offensive lineman in the game, and then the other four guys are like nobodies. Like, they're terrible, guys. Like, listen, I know this is my team, but guys, I live in the real world. I have optimism. Make no mistake about it. I do believe and I do have optimism. What my problem is, I understand that with optimism comes a level and a standard, right? When I go to work every week, right, and I check in, I say, hey, boss, how you doing today? What do you got for me? If he tells me I need you to go pick up 5 cars from Chevy, okay, because I'm a driver, guys. That's what I do for work. So if he tells me I need to go pick up 5 cars from Chevy, I'm not going to go pick up 3 and then start clapping my hands and think, hey, I'm done for the day. I did everything I was supposed to do. No, I'm going to go get those 5 cars. I'm coming back, and what do you need me to do next, boss? Okay, because there's a standard. Okay, when you play offensive line, there's a standard. It's like kicker. Either you can do it or you can't. See, the only people who get paid to maybe in the game of football are running backs, okay, and wide receivers. Because it's okay if a wide receiver drops a pass every now and again. He's not going to get fired for that, okay? It's okay if a running back has a negative 2-yard gain. Why? Because he could have a 10-yard gain on the next play, okay? The offensive line, you can't mistake. You can't make mistakes because it's you one-on-one with somebody else. You make a mistake, the person who you're supposed to be blocking is hitting your quarterback, hitting your running back in the backfield, or disrupting the play call no matter what it is. That's why offensive line, defensive line is so important. You look at successful teams in the history of any type of football, and it starts in the trenches. That's why you hear the analysts and you hear the head coaches and you hear the football analysis say football is won and lost in the trenches. Because it 100% is. Okay, guys? So as y'all can hear the frustration, the passion coming out of my voice, is just how serious I feel about this. The Gators are having the same exact problem as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. These are my 2 favorite teams in sports, and this is where it's coming from, guys. So if anybody in the Tampa Bay organization or anybody in the Gators organization hears this, guys, it's time to tighten up. It's time to get better. Because what we're doing right now is a recipe for disaster, not success. Okay? So that's what's going on there in Tampa Bay. Like I said, next game, Texans, Sunday, November 5th. Okay, November 5th, remember that, not this Sunday, November 5th, 1 p.m. Texans riding 3-3, all right, rookie quarterback, maybe we'll be able to rise above, find a fourth win, get back to 500. But right now, 3-4 looks terrible for us, all right? And we're in trouble. We're in danger of going back in time to when we were irrelevant, and that's what I would like for us not to happen. It would bring me a lot more joy to get on this show and talk, happily and talk about winning and talk about how well my team is doing. But instead, right now, I'm talking about how bad they're doing because I got to keep it real with you guys, and that's what's going on there in Tampa Bay. Let's move on over to the Jaguars, who are playing a lot better football than Tampa Bay. They're arriving this week, 5-2 record with a 4-game unbeaten streak. Y'all heard me right. After starting the season 1-2, they are riding a 4-game unbeaten streak. They're playing very well in Duval. Shout out to the Jags. You guys are one of the few bright spots here in Florida sports. Keep on what you're doing. We have a lot of faith in you, Trevor. We have a lot of faith in you, ETM, and just in general, very proud of what the Jaguars are doing this year. And like I said before, guys, give them some time, let them cook. That continuity will start to build itself back up, and surely as the sky is blue, it has been doing it. Like I said, 5-2 record for the Jaguars sent out of Duval County. Duval, stand up. Congratulations on that, guys. Keep playing good football. Got a test coming up Sunday, tomorrow at 1 p.m. It's going to be the 4-2 Steelers riding into Duval. We're going to see how that game goes. Steelers are playing decent football right now, but I don't think they're a better team than Jaguars. I'm going to go ahead and go with the Jags winning this game, but they're going to have to block TJ Watt. Not TJ Watt, but yeah, it is TJ Watt. What am I talking about? TJ Watt. They're going to have to block that guy because that guy's playing at a very high level. He's definitely a defensive year candidate, and he's been playing extremely well for the Steelers on defense. Not surprising, though. We know what his big brother could do, and if his big brother was able to do that, it's only a matter of time before he starts showing us what he could do, and that's clearly what's going on here. I'm going to roll with the Jaguars winning this game. I'm going to rock with a 27-22 Jags victory. I think 22 points because I see the Steelers scoring late, but I see them scoring late and leaving time on the clock for Trevor Lawrence and those boys to get on the field and run out the clock and possibly even score a game-clinching field goal. I wouldn't be surprised if that's how the game goes because the Jaguars, even though they've been letting teams hang around, they've been doing very well just maintaining and controlling time of possession and scoring when it matters most. So like I said, I think they're going to score 27 points. My daring score is actually 31-24 Jags, okay? So I'm actually going to change it to that because that's really what I'm feeling inside. So I'm going to rock with that 31-24 Jags victory, but I wouldn't be surprised if it stays under 30 points. Again, Steelers defense is pretty good, and under Mike Tomlin, they're going to be well coached and definitely one of the best defensive players in the league in TJ Watt. So looking forward to watching that game. That game again tomorrow 1 p.m. So if you're looking for a football team to watch here in Florida, guys, look no further than Duval. Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be playing well tomorrow, so looking forward to that. Fins, Dolphins, Miami, Tua, Jalen Ramsey. Okay, not just Jalen Waddle, They got a couple of Jalen's on there. What's going on with the name Jalen? It's so popular now. Jalen Hurts. Any other Jalen's? Anybody else listening? Put that in the comments before. Any famous Jalen's outside the three I just named right there. But the Fins, all right, they're how can I say this? They play good football, then they don't play good football, then they play good football, then they don't play good football. They started out playing tremendous football, right? Then they ran into the Bills, right? I apologize, guys, for the congestion, but not much I can do about it. But you get what I'm saying. Like, in any other fashion. The Fins, 5-2 record, okay? Started the season 3-0. Ran into the Bills. Lost that game 48-20. Everybody was like, what the heck? What happened to, what happened to Miami? What happened to the Fins? Like, the Bills just destroyed them. Then the Bills went on to lose like 2 games terribly before beating Tampa Bay on Thursday. And the Fins would go win the next game and then play the Eagles, which is what we're going to talk about right now. I watched most of that Fins-Eagles game. Most of the second half. I actually got there just before halftime. I was saying this early in the show, guys. The Eagles are one of the most least penalized teams in the league, and yet they're one of the dirtiest. Okay, so here's the deal, guys. I know sports, all right? I know a lot of sports, all right, for my age. Don't let that fool you. I got to be good at something in life. Guess what it is, okay? So, in knowing a lot of sports, Philadelphia, the quote-unquote city of brotherly love, it's an ironic name because there's nothing brotherly or lovely about it, okay? And I'm not saying that from a hater's perspective. I'm saying that because you guys ever notice that all of the teams in Philadelphia are just absolutely, just rude, Like, it's like Boston, right? Like there are cities in the United States where their fan bases are just rude. All right, just rude. For instance, you come down to Tampa, you don't ever hear about people getting in fights. You know why? Everybody's drinking. They're on a boat somewhere enjoying the sunshine. There's too much to be happy about down here in Tampa. I don't know if it's the snowy snow up there. I don't know if somebody pissed in their cup of joe. I don't know what the deal is. But it seems like all the time we hear about just Philadelphia fans and people getting into so many, like, altercations. Same thing with the Raiders. Now, the Raiders are slightly different because I think that's in their culture, especially when you look at their history, right? I think that's actually part of the culture. But for Philadelphia and Boston, the teams here on the East Coast, I don't think that's part of the culture. I just think that when they win, that they're happy. When they lose, they're salty. And they get really, really salty, you know? So, that's one of the things that kind of gets me about Philadelphia. But on the flip side of it, for some reason, it's a prestigious sports city. And I think it has a lot to do with the favoritism that they're receiving because, guys, again, I'm a straight bullet. I don't dance, all right? I call it what it is. Like, I'm not gonna hide or lie about what I'm seeing here, okay? So watching that game against Miami fans, I'm here to tell you guys got robbed, okay? There were so many uncalled penalties. The Eagles played quietly a dirty game, okay? And it, congratulations to the Eagles for winning, but Miami, don't hang your heads, okay? Because, like I said, that's an NFC team. You're not gonna have to worry about that team the rest of the year. They're not gonna own any tiebreakers on you. So, just continue playing good football, Miami, and things will start to work out for you guys. But the Eagles definitely are receiving some favoritism. Same thing with the Chiefs. I don't know if it has.
Hey yo, what's up? It's your man Bishop, the voice of This Is KC Sports, the show where we go over the Chiefs, the Royals, KC Current, Sporting KC, MU, and oh yeah, if we got time, we'll even throw in some of that KU stuff from our people on the 913 South. Come and hang out with us every Sunday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Green team, set, hey!
What's going on, football fans? This is me, your boy Larry B, inviting you to join myself, Colin Reynolds, Mike Pat, and John Felipe for one of the most electrifying football shows you have ever heard. 3 and Out, right here at IE Sports Radio. Recap of the week before, a preview of what's to come, and of course, 3 hardcore head-to-head primetime face-offs each week. You don't want to miss it.
Alright guys, and we are back at Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Coy Pools, your host, and as always this is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, guys. So the Gator game. Okay, Gator game, I'm emotional right now because the game is on, right? So obviously if I was talking about it tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday or something like that, I'd be a little bit more focused on what I could say from a constructive standpoint than I would from an emotional standpoint. But I think part of what makes this show so good, and part of what makes any show so good, especially when watching great shows and listening to great shows for that matter, is the emotion that's involved, because it's relatable, right? Like, so a lot of us, for instance, for any of you who watch First Take, right? So you watch First Take, it's like, okay, cool, I hear what this guy's saying, I hear what this person is saying, I agree with this, or I don't agree with that, I don't agree with this person is saying. You see what I'm saying? And you find those areas where you relate, right? So that's what I'm here to give you guys. So for those of you who are Florida fans, I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be able to relate with what I have to say here. There's a couple of issues with what's going on here in Florida. First off, make no mistake about it, all of us are pretty sure we were going to lose this game, okay? I'm not saying I don't have faith. I have all the faith in the world. I love my Gators. I love them to pieces, okay? Anybody who knows me knows this is true. But, again, part of being an adult is being able to understand reality and process it and then deal with it, right? Like, let's just get that out of the way. It's very simple. As an adult, we have to deal with a lot of hard things, right? Whether it's work, whether it's bills, whether insurance, children, whatever have you, whatever it is that you're going through, there's something to deal with. Having a sports team that you love lose consistently at that, especially against good talent, is an example of that, okay? So I'm going to give you guys the breakdown of what the issue is with the Gators, okay? Number one, the offensive line, okay? Offensive line has not been able to block pretty much all year, okay? Let's just call it like what it is. I'm pretty sure Graham Mertz has been sacked in every game this season, even against teams that were no-name teams. That's a problem, okay? This offensive line needs to get itself together. I don't know if it's the package. I don't know if it's the formation. But, Billy, you're going to have to start putting an extra guy in, because it's very clear that this team, 5-on-5, cannot block, another team. 4 down linemen and a blitzing linebacker. At this point against the Florida Gators, I'm going to take the down lineman in the blitzing linebacker because of the inability. And also the inability to tackle here on defense. For some reason, the Gators can touch guys but can't bring them down. That's going to be my second issue. The defense, as good as the defense has played at times, is not that great of a defense, okay? That's the problem. Like, let's address this issue as is. It's not that great of a defense, okay? Georgia had to run for their money against Auburn, against South Carolina, teams that aren't even winning ball games. We beat South Carolina last week, but we allowed too many points, okay? See, that's the problem, okay? Defense is allowing too many big plays and too many points. The offense can't block anybody. Okay, I'm not even going to say Graham Mertz is a bad quarterback. He's decent. He's pretty good, actually. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought he wasn't that good in Wisconsin. Here at Florida, he's playing pretty good football from quarterback, okay? And then our running backs, Johnson and Etienne, are good running backs, guys. Okay, our receiving core, okay, I get it. We have one standout receiver. The other guys are kind of young. We're starting 11. True freshmen. That number will probably only increase next year. But nobody cares about any of that, guys. You know what they care about? They care about that little stat line next to your name with a W and an L, okay? And they care about that W having far more bigger numbers by it than that L. And right now, the Gators are about to add another to the L, okay? And now I understand Georgia's the #1 team in the country. I don't care about that. We're rivalries, okay? This is a rivalry game. Whoever wins the Florida-Georgia game, 89% of the time wins the SEC? And then there's another percentage of that ends up going to the national championship game. You look over the last 20 years, the Georgia Bulldogs and the Florida Gators have represented the most that any team from the East has made it as far as the SEC championship game or the BCS championship game. Okay, do you understand what that means, guys? That basically means that whoever wins the Florida-Georgia game, it has an inside track to success at a bigger stage against the West and then eventually into the rest of the BCS, okay? What Georgia's going to win this game, there's 9 minutes to go. The score is at 36-13 ball game as Carson Beck completes another first down, 15-yard gain they're past midfield at this point, so it's just a formality. It's possible that Georgia puts up 50 against us at this point, okay? And you might think I'm sounding dramatic, but 2 touchdowns is 50 points, all right? So keep that in mind, guys. That's what's going on with this game. The Gators sitting at 5-2, about to move to 5-3. The number 1 team in the country, the Georgia Bulldogs, sitting at 7-0, about to prove to 8-0. At halftime, it was already 26-7, so I was already considering turning the game off then, but I knew I was going to do the show, and I figured, what the hell? Season's over for the Gators, but they can still make a ball game. One more win gets them a ball game, okay? That's the good news. More good news, the Gators are going to play Arkansas next week, okay? So it's not a ranked SEC team as the Georgia Bulldogs run the ball inside the 10 of the Florida Gators. Now 1st and goal for the Georgia Bulldogs at the 7-yard line. Arkansas is not a great football team at the moment, but they're still a feisty team nonetheless. That game is going to be Saturday, November 4th at 12 p.m. Mind you guys, before this Gator game, they had a bye week. So they had 2 weeks to prepare for Georgia, and Georgia's still about to put up at least 40, right? Because, like I said, 1st and goal, 7 minutes, 50 seconds to go. They got all the time in the world they need to score, get the ball back, and score again. And it's a rivalry game, so they're going to run the score up. Gators need an offensive line and a defensive line for that matter, okay? Linebackers, our linebackers are getting better. Shamar James is really good. Outside on the perimeter, we need some more help. Safeties are okay, all right? We haven't been beat too many times on the deep ball this year. Yeah, it's happened a few times, but not as many times as it has in recent past years. So that's something to be excited about from Florida's standpoint. Again, on offensive line or nothing, right? Because we have an outstanding receiver. We have 2 outstanding running backs. We have a quarterback who's getting it done, looking pretty good while doing it. But when he gets hit, guys. That's what it comes down to. Let's move on over to the number 4 ranked Florida State Seminoles, okay? Noles are playing really good football right now. They played Wake Forest. They destroyed 4-4 Wake Forest. 41-16 ball game. Typical. What you expect from those boys down there with the Spears and whatnot. It's, like I said, good football team down there in Florida State, or up there in Florida State, I should say. And you come to expect this, like I said. I am not the biggest Florida State fan, but that's the Gators' other rival. It's the in-state rival, so at any given time, it could be a bigger rivalry game than Georgia, especially whenever they're both ranked, because holy Jesus, if you've never been to a Florida Noles game when they're both ranked, you ain't seen what the South has to offer you yet then. That's all I can tell you, and it's absolutely bonkers, all right? And I mean 2 sides just going at it. It's like a heavyweight fight between Tyson and Holyfield. Or Riddick Bowe and Holyfield. That's a better example, okay? That's a much better example, guys. Sorry about that. There was a little issue with my system. Georgia just scored another touchdown, so there's that. They've reached over 40 points now for, what is this, the 3rd time in 4 years that and they're doing the Gators dance. That's crazy. Well, I guess it is what it is, like I said before this game's over. But as far as the Noles would be concerned, like I said, they beat Wake Forest 41-16. Tremendous game for them. They were, clicking on all cylinders. Defense played lights out, which, like I said, you come to expect it from a Florida State football team, especially when they're playing as well as they are, in a team with the most continuity out of all 3 teams here in Florida. So congratulations, Florida State, on another victory. Improving over to 8-0. Proud of those guys for what they're able to accomplish. Even though it's our rivalry team, still putting Florida on the map somehow, some way. So congratulations again. Like I said, Noles, good win today as they get ready to move on to next week. The next game is going to be against Pittsburgh. Okay, so Pittsburgh is playing great football right now. I think they're like 2-5 or something like that. And I think they lost again today. So there's probably 2-6. Not playing great football. That game's going to be Saturday, November 4th. The time for that's going to be announced. And I think the reason for that is very much so simple. They're trying to figure out what the other time slots for the other ACC games are going to be. The ACC has been a little bit slower in that regard than the SEC has been. So luckily with the Gators, we've been knowing what the next 2 weeks were going to be beforehand, right? So we know that next week we're going to play Arkansas at 1 p.m. Most likely the game after that is also going to be played at 1 p.m. because the Gators are not going to be ranked, okay? Regardless of what happens against Arkansas, whether they win or not, they're not going to be ranked most likely the rest of the season. The only way they're going to be ranked the rest of the season if somehow everybody in the Pac-10 and the Big 12 just start destroying each other, all right? And teams that aren't supposed to lose start losing a lot, like Oregon, like USC, like Ohio State, like Penn State, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, those teams are going to have to plummet heavily, and then, obviously, the Gators are going to have to continue to win out. But like I said, that's the example of what I mean by what to be announced. So don't feel bad, guys. It could be a primetime game. I think with to be announced, it usually means it's going to be 3:30 start time or later. I don't think there's been too many to be announced, and it started at noon, right? I don't think there's been too many. There has been a few. There was an Alabama one where that happened about 2 years ago. But aside from that, that doesn't happen too often. So Noles fans, don't worry, guys. It's probably going to be a 3:30 start time. It's against Pitt, so it's here on the East Coast anyway. Like, it's not like this is an out-of-conference rivalry game or out-of-conference game in general. So, obviously, the Noles are going to take care of business right there. I wouldn't be surprised if they destroy Pittsburgh with a similar score of the game that was played today. So, again, Saturday, November 4th, that's the Noles game. Canes, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the Miami Hurricanes. The Canes, the last time I saw they were winning the game, for anybody who may be listening and hasn't, say anything, go put the score of that game in the chat. I haven't seen the score of the game. I'm still watching the Florida-Georgia game. But the last time I saw it, they were beating Virginia 17-10, midway part of the third quarter, okay? So I think there was like 10 minutes and 41 seconds left in that game when I was, or in the third quarter of that game, the last time I saw it. So I don't know what the score is now, but if it pops up on the screen, I'll give you that update in a moment. Virginia's arriving in this game at a 2-5. The Canes are arriving in this record at 5-2. So two mirror opposite records. Virginia's going to give Miami trouble because Miami's questioning themselves right after 2 past losses, but I think with a win here, a convincing win here against Virginia, they could get back on the road to success. Every team, in order to kickstart that successful period, has to find a win somewhere, and they have to build upon it, right? So that's what the Canes need to be worried about doing here against Virginia. By this time, the game should be over, so like I said, if I see that score, I'll pass it on to you guys as the Gators get the kickoff now. Score of this game still 43-13, ball game with 5 minutes and 57 seconds to go. That's what's going on right now in the world of college football. Let's go ahead and wrap things up, guys. I got a little bit of NBA news for you and a little hockey news for you, so I'll go ahead and get that information to you guys in a moment. Let's go ahead and take our second break of the evening, the last break of the evening. When we get back, we'll wrap it up within about 5 minutes or so, and I'll have you guys on your way. Keep it locked here at Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, this is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey there, sports fans. Are you looking for a sports show that maybe isn't 100% about sports?
Then you might want to check out the Sports Couple Perspectives right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Most sports shows cover only scores and stats, and while we're not opposed to that, we dig a little deeper into sports issues and some of the hottest topics in athletics.
In addition to sports, we take a journey through my neck of the woods, pop culture, with movie reviews of both sports and non-sports films.
Speaking of pop culture, make sure to participate in our game nights, where we quiz each other on our specialties, and you, the listeners, can win IE Sports Radio apparel.
We always have a great time learning more about each other's worlds, one show at a time.
So join us each week on the Sports Couple Perspectives, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome back to Palm Tree Sports Radio, guys. Thank you guys for having it locked here. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports, guys. Let's go ahead and talk about the NBA real quick. Now, the NBA season just started. That's the reason why this... Now, mind you, I know the segment's a little short, and I know there's going to be more to talk about as we progress, but guys, there's only been 2 games played. What do you want me to do? I can't cry you a river like I can for the Bucks or for the Gators, because they're 7-8, games into the season. All right, for basketball, the Heat have played 2 games. The Orlando Magic have played 2 games. Okay, and it hasn't gone exactly what you expected. The records are kind of flipped from what you might think that they could be, but they've played 2 different sets of teams. And as they continue to wind in and really develop themselves, now we're out of the preseason and we're done with these makeshift lineups, right? Because let's be honest, that's what the preseason is. The preseason is trying to get people who you want to play valuable time versus those who that are going to play, right? So like LeBron James didn't play a ton in the preseason. Guess what he's doing? Playing a ton right now, okay? You see what I'm saying? And that's a perfect example of what I mean. With that being said, the Heat start the season 1-1 after losing to the Celtics in a 119-111 ball game. Well, the Celtics on paper are a better team than Miami Heat. Okay, that's a given. That's how it looked in the playoffs last year until the Heat made the immaculate run that they did. No doubt, Eric Spoelstra had a lot to do with that, being the veteran coach that he is, with the mind for basketball that he has, with the team that he had led by Jimmy Butler, which performed very, very well. I'm very proud of what that team was able to accomplish. I do hate the fact that they got destroyed by the Nuggets in a 4-1, but then the Lakers got 4-0'd. So all I can say is that both of my favorite teams didn't play well against the Nuggets, and that's why Nuggets won the championship. So congratulations, of course, as we've said countless times, to the Nuggets. Even though I don't like them, congratulations to them. But let's talk about Miami, because see, what Miami's going through is a little bit different, right? Miami's not really in a rebuilding stage. They're in a we need to find that missing piece stage, right? They remind me of the Jacksonville Jaguars, as we were talking about them earlier. That team has the potential to be a top 5 team at any given point in time. But it seems like they're just missing something. And tell me if I'm wrong, guys. Tell me if you haven't heard this before. But Jacksonville's one player away from being considered one of the best teams in the league and challenging for the best team spot in the league. They've been playing well, 4-game win streak. They're doing really well in their own division. They're doing well in their conference, and they're doing well pretty much no matter who they play against. So it shows that there's a lot there and that there's something to hang on to and to hang your hat on. However, it's still a process. Like, there's still more work that needs to be done, and they still need that one last player that's going to separate them from the rest of the teams in the AFC. The teams that are good, but we know aren't going to go to the Super Bowl this year, right? So that's what I mean. Miami's in that kind of area. All they need is one more player, one more superstar, if you will, that can come in and help take the pressure off of the rest of the team, if you will. Bam Adebayo and, Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler, just somebody can help take that pressure and still provide a great defensive presence and be able to play good minutes. And I imagine once they find that player, that this team will probably be one of the top 3 teams in the East, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're not 3. I can't put them at 1 because that looks like Milwaukee right now. That team looks absolutely nuts. But that would be the team that I'd say is the best team in the East at the moment. So the next game for the Miami Heat are going to be the Timberwolves. That game is tonight at 8:20 or 8 p.m. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say 8:20, but 8 p.m. I might throw that game on because there's really nothing else here to watch tonight. I don't think there's anything else here to watch tonight, guys. I'm being 100% honest with you. Yeah, I think this is the only game, so I'm probably going to end up watching that game. It'll probably be part of a doubleheader game, so it'll be at 8. The next game after that will be at like a 10:30 start time or something like that. So I'll probably go ahead and do that. Looking forward to it. The Timberwolves, well, like I said, it's early in the season, so nobody really knows who is, okay, if that makes sense. Nobody know who is, okay? I think that's a proper way to say that terminology, but you get what I'm saying. We're still in the early stages of developing the characters of the teams that they're going to determine where they land. The only team that looks the part right now is Milwaukee and the Nuggets, okay, which is pretty typical because probably the 2 best teams in the league. So that's what it is there. The Magic, on the other hand, have started the season 2-0. Okay, they were able to beat the Blazers, who are 0-2. They lost every preseason game, so they've been like they're not looking good at all. The Blazers. Okay, it's just called like what it is. But the Blazers are 0-2. The Magic are 2-0, and they beat the Blazers 102-97 ball game. You guys know how I feel about basketball. Score over 100 points, keep the team from scoring 100 points. You're gonna win those games if you do that. Next game is going to be against my prestigious Lakers. That's going to be on Monday, October 30th at 10:30 p.m. So get ready for that one, guys. That one's going to be the second of a doubleheader that night. So I may watch the second one because I think Monday night we're going to have Monday Night Football, and we're going to have Monday Night Raw. So I'm already going to be bouncing around between 2 channels, watching those 2 things. And then with the doubleheader on basketball, I definitely going to want to see that Lakers game. So I'll probably be watching that game. Don't be surprised, if I watch the game before it. But odds are I'm probably watching the Laker game. So if you're looking for something to watch late on Monday, that's going to be the late game. Like I said, everything early is going to be 8 o'clock. So Monday Night Football, Monday Night Raw, and then, of course, Monday Night Basketball. So, all at 8 p.m. So, get ready for that, guys. So you're going to be clicking your channels back and forth a lot, because that's already what I'm doing at this point. And like I said, it's going to be against the loyal Lakers. 1-1 Lakers, the AD thing just continues to be the same with the Lakers. So, we'll see what happens. If AD shows up against the Magic, then the Magic receive their first loss of the season. If AD doesn't show up against the Magic, hey, 3-0 start the season for the Orlando Magic, which would be pretty cool. My dad will be very happy about that. Shout out, Dad. I love you. I know you're going to be watching that game too. But another team that you're going to be watching, okay? Another team that you're going to be watching is the Tampa Bay Lightning. Okay, so Tampa Bay Lightning, for those of you who do not know, Tampa Bay Lightning has been the winningest team here in the Tampa Bay area. This is the team that makes us most proud. This is the team that has been able to carry a city on its back with the lack of that taking place in the NFL and in MLB. It's the NHL in the South of all things. Isn't that kind of interesting, guys, that down south we play hockey and we play hockey pretty well? So let's talk about those Bolts. Let's talk about how well they're doing, okay? So Bolts are arriving right now, 4th in the AL, or the AL, Jesus. Y'all can tell I'm missing baseball, man. They're 4th in the conference, okay, right now, sitting at 4-2 and 2 record, okay? So it's 4 wins, 2 losses, 2 ties, okay? So far to start the season, this 2-game win streak that they've been on has been an offensive and defensive tear. Haven't allowed any goals in the last 2 games. Okay, so that's huge. I think it was a 3-0 victory over the Hurricanes a couple of nights ago, and then we played the Sharks last night, I think it was, and that was a 6-0 victory. So absolutely disgusting. 6-0 victory, 6-0 shutout, a phenomenal score, phenomenal defense being played by the Lightning. We know that they can do it. This is something that's been a hallmark of this team, is playing tremendous defense, especially when everybody's healthy. And this is with our backup goalie, guys. Make no mistake about it. Our primary goalie is getting healthy by the day, but I love the idea of being like the 91 49ers, where it's like, we have like the best 3 quarterbacks in the league. And for those of you who do not remember, the 91 49ers, Joe Montana was injured with an elbow injury, and due to that injury with the elbow injury, Steve Young stepped in. Steve Young would go on to get injured in a Week 10 matchup against Atlanta, injuring his knee, allowing Steve Bono to come in and lead them into a winning record to end the season, all the way to the last game of the season where he got injured, and then Steve Young came in to wrap up that game against the Chicago Bears, winning that game on the final Monday night of the regular season that year on a tackle at the goal line, a 99-yard, it was a 100-yard fumble return for a touchdown by Don Griffin, number 29. So, guys, I'm just flexing my football knowledge there a little bit. So, for anybody that listens to as a 49er fan, I salute you. Love the 49ers. My second favorite team in the league. So, I just thought that was pretty cool. I thought that was just something that was really cool. But it just reminds me of what's going on here with the Lightning, because again, like I said, having 2 of the best goalies in all of hockey, that's a rare thing, right? Like, having a good goalie is the first thing you want to find when you're building a good hockey team. Like, it's like playing soccer. Like, what are you going to do? I'm going to get the best goalie first. Like, that's the first thing I'm going to do. Why? Well, because you can only pick one goalie. Just like a quarterback. You can only pick one quarterback. All right? So, I'd want to pick the best one. And right now, we're looking like we have 2 of the very best that the NHL has to offer. And that's something that's extremely exciting for somebody like me and for all of us here in the Tampa area. My boss, actually, at my job is an avid Lightning fan. He also plays hockey. So, shout out, Austin, if you ever hear this. Shout out to you, my man. I'm a big fan of our Lightning team as well, and I think it's pretty cool that you also play the game. So, shout out to you, and I'll be to work on Monday. But yeah, Lightning boasting 2 of the best goalies in the league right now, and it's shown in the last 2 games. I can't talk about that enough because that's something you rarely ever see happen. The same goalie shut out 2 different teams in the same week at that. So congratulations to the Lightning, starting this season off pretty strong. 4-2-2 be the record. The next game that's going to be played is going to be against the Kraken. That game is going to be Monday, October 30th, 7 p.m. So again, guys, I already said there's going to be a lot to watch on Monday night. Guess what? Add the Lightning to the mix too, because that game is going to be 7 p.m. So that one's going to start actually earlier than the other games, which will be starting at 8 o'clock and later from that point forward. So again, the Kraken, Monday, October 30th, 7 p.m. ball game. Or not a ball game. It's a hockey game, but you get what I'm saying. And also for the record, the Kraken are arriving this game at an 0-6-1 record. So, Bolts, do what you do. Improve the 5-2 on the season, and we'll go from there. Guys, thank you so much for joining me here on Palm Tree Sports Radio. I do apologize for the congestion, but there's not a lot I can do about it, especially with the way the weather is down here. It's just part of Florida. It's part of Central Florida, but thank you so much for joining me here, guys. The Gators are knocking on the door, scored another touchdown, put up a 20-point game, right off into the sunset with something. So, just you guys pray for Florida because we're struggling. But in the meantime, between time, thank you again so much for having you guys here. I really appreciate the support. I can't wait to talk to you guys again next Saturday, same time, same place. Hopefully this time we'll be talking about our teams winning instead of losing, and we'll have a lot more happier things to talk about. In the meantime, between time, spend time with your family, spend time with your loved ones. The world is a crazy place. Life isn't guaranteed tomorrow, and neither is any relationship that you have, so cherish them while you have it. Eat some good food tonight. Get ready for a spooky season to end because we're approaching the end of October. It just went by so fast. So go enjoy the parties. Be safe, okay? No matter what you do, be safe out there. Keep others in your mind. Pray. Spend time with your loved ones, guys, as we ease on into November and get ready for Thanksgiving, all right, guys? I'll see you same time, same place next week, and I really appreciate you guys for having me. Peace.